Please don't do that." Yet the rancher went ahead, shocking the entire town. Dust rose gently from the dry soil as wind whispered through the sparse grasslands, carrying with it the smell of smoke from the distant chimneys of the small frontier town. Red Mesa was a quiet place, a town of hard-working humans who carved their lives from the harsh soil of a distant colony world. Life here was simple, sometimes too simple, but everyone knew their place. Elias Gray rode slowly along the outer ridge of his ranch, his hat pulled low to shield his eyes from the setting sun. The ranch had been in his family for generations, a patch of land filled with cattle, windmill pumps, and corrals that smelled of hay and hard work. But tonight something was different. Something felt alive. From the corner of his eye he saw it, a strange shimmering light beyond the northern fence, where no river or electrical line could explain it. It pulsed faintly, almost breathing, and danced with colors that didn't belong to Red Mesa or any place he had ever seen. Elias' horse snorted nervously, sensing the change in the air. He slowed, gripping the reins tighter. "Now that I don't like," Elias muttered under his breath. Back in town, the news of the anomaly had already spread. Scientists and town elders gathered in the small community hall, their faces pale under the bright lamps. Dr. Marissa Kane, the colony's chief researcher, gestured at a holographic display that showed the anomaly's location and strange energy readings. "It's unlike anything we've seen," she said, her voice tight with concern. "It's alive in some sense, reacting to the environment. We do not know its intentions." From the corner, Mayor Harlan Jensen rubbed his temples. "All we know is that it's dangerous. One wrong move and it could destroy this town. Elias, he's brave, yes, but reckless. If he goes near it, we could lose him, or worse." A young assistant spoke up hesitantly. "Mayor, maybe we should evacuate, precautionary measures." "Evacuate?" Marissa cut him off sharply. "This anomaly doesn't behave like anything we understand. Evacuating may not help. We need observation and patience." Meanwhile, Elias had already dismounted near the fence line, his boots crunching on the dry soil. The shimmering light called to him in a way he couldn't explain. He had heard the scientists' warnings, the pleas from the townsfolk, the repeated, desperate words. "Please don't do that." But he couldn't stop. Something inside him, the same stubbornness that had helped him survive wild storms and scarce harvests, pushed him forward. His hand rested on the wooden fence post as he studied the anomaly. It pulsed slowly, rhythmically, like a heartbeat. Elias felt a strange pull, almost as if it was communicating without words. "You're alive," he whispered, half to himself. "Maybe not the way we are, but alive." A voice behind him made him jump. "Elias." "Don't go any closer." It was his neighbor, Martha, waving frantically from a distance. Her face was pale, lined with worry. "It's dangerous. Stay back." Elias tipped his hat with a small, calm smile. "Martha, I've faced worse than a strange light. I need to see this for myself." Martha shook her head. "You don't understand. This isn't just light or some storm. It's something else. Please don't do that." He nodded once, not dismissively, but with understanding. "I hear you, but some things you can't learn from a distance. You have to go closer." The anomaly seemed to sense his intention. The air shimmered, warping around it, and a low hum filled the silence of the mesa. Even the wind seemed to pause. Elias took a deep breath, feeling his pulse quicken. Every instinct screamed caution, yet every fiber of his being urged him forward. He walked slowly, his boots sinking slightly into the dry soil. Each step closer made the light pulse brighter, faster, almost like it was curious about him. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device, a scanner the scientists had given him. It beeped erratically, the readings spinning wildly. "This is unlike anything we've cataloged," Marissa said from her control station in the town hall, her voice crackling through the communicator. "Elias, do not touch it. Any sudden movement could trigger, I don't even know what." But Elias had stopped listening. He crouched near the edge of the anomaly, careful, cautious, yet fearless. He extended a hand, not to strike, not to control, but to reach out, human curiosity in its purest form. The anomaly reacted immediately. Light rippled over his hand, warm but not harmful. The hum deepened, forming a melody that resonated in his chest. He felt a strange connection, as if the anomaly understood him, or at least recognized the intelligence in his mind. Martha cried out, "Elias, step back!" But Elias didn't move. He closed his eyes, letting the hum flow through him. Memories of storms survived, cattle saved from predators, crops nurtured through drought. All of it strengthened his resolve. Humans survived because they adapted, because they learned to understand and face the unknown. The townsfolk watched in awe and fear. Some whispered prayers, others shook their heads in disbelief. No one expected Elias to approach something so alien. And yet, there he was, calm, composed, alive, proving that human courage wasn't reckless. It was calculated, intuitive, and unyielding. Suddenly, the anomaly pulsed brighter than ever. A wave of energy spread out, knocking Elias to his knees. Dust whipped around, the air crackling with strange electricity. For a moment the town held its collective breath, fearing the worst. Then just as suddenly the energy receded. Elias rose, brushing dust from his coat. His scanner was smoking slightly, but he was unharmed. He looked at the anomaly, eyes wide with awe. It's not attacking," he said softly. "It's curious." Back in the town hall, Marissa's jaw dropped. "It survived our warning, it survived him," Mayor Jensen muttered under his breath. "That's Elias Gray for you, reckless, stubborn, and somehow still alive." Elias turned back toward the town, smiling faintly at the gathering crowd. "Don't worry," he called out. "I'm okay, but this is just the beginning." No one knew it yet, but Red Mesa's quiet nights were about to change forever. The anomaly was only the first challenge. How humans would respond, how Elias and the townsfolk would act, would determine not just their survival, but their place in a universe that suddenly seemed much bigger and much stranger than they had ever imagined. And as the sun disappeared behind the distant hills, the anomaly pulsed one last time, sending a ripple of light across the mesa. It was a silent promise, or perhaps a warning. The world of Red Mesa had grown far more dangerous and far more extraordinary than anyone could have predicted. The next morning, Red Mesa awoke to a sky washed in pale gold. The anomaly still shimmered on the northern ridge, its light softer now but no less mysterious. Word of Elias' encounter had spread quickly, and a mixture of awe and fear filled the town. People whispered as they moved through the streets, glancing nervously toward the mesa. In the town hall, Dr. Marissa Kane paced back and forth. Her scanner readings were impossible to understand. "It shouldn't react the way it did," she muttered to herself. "It shouldn't understand him." Mayor Harlan Jensen sat in a chair, rubbing his forehead. "I don't like this, Marissa. I don't like it one bit. That anomaly, whatever it is, it's bigger than anything we've dealt with. And Elias, he's too close." Marissa turned sharply. "Mayor, if we don't study it carefully, we could make a huge mistake. If it's intelligent, if it senses our fear, it could respond in ways we can't predict. Elias is lucky he survived, but we can't depend on luck." Meanwhile, Elias was already back at the ridge, standing near the anomaly again. His horse, Starfire, pawed the ground nervously, but Elias didn't flinch. He had spent the night thinking about what he had seen. The light, the hum, the strange warmth he had felt, it was alive. Not like a plant or an animal, but alive in a way humans could feel with their minds. "Morning, Starfire," Elias said, patting the horse's neck. "Looks like you've got a front row seat to history, old girl." He carefully set up a few simple tools, a small scanner, a notebook, and some glass containers. Not much, because he wanted to approach this with respect. Elias wasn't trying to conquer the anomaly, he wanted to understand it. From the town below, Martha and a few other neighbors watched. They whispered to one another, fear evident in their voices. "Is he crazy?" Martha muttered. "That thing, it's not human." It could hurt him. Martha had watched Elias survive many dangers over the years, storms, wild animals, and even a fire that had swept part of his ranch. But this was different. This was something he could not control, something beyond human understanding. Elias knelt beside the anomaly, extending a small hand toward its shimmering edge. The light pulsed gently as if sensing his intention. He held still, letting the light wash over his hand. It was warm, soft, and surprisingly calming. For a moment, it felt like the anomaly was breathing with him. Every pulse of light matched his heartbeat, every ripple seemed to respond to his movements. Elias marveled at the connection. Humans had always survived by observing, understanding, and adapting. This was no different except the stakes were higher. "Starfire, stay calm," Elias whispered. The horse nickered softly as if it understood. Suddenly the anomaly shifted. A strand of light extended toward him, thin and delicate like a finger reaching out. Elias froze. His heart pounded, but he did not move back. Instead, he slowly raised his other hand, palm open, and let the light touch it. It tingled like electricity, but soft and alive. Elias felt a strange understanding flow through him, like the anomaly was trying to communicate without words. Images flashed in his mind: mountains, rivers, strange creatures, and a feeling of curiosity, not hostility. Back in town, Dr. Kane's monitor beeped wildly. It's responding to him," she exclaimed. Her assistant stared at the screen, eyes wide. "How? That's impossible. Nothing we know could do that." The anomaly pulsed brighter, and Elias noticed a pattern. It seemed to respond to calmness, patience, and steady movement. Quick or nervous actions caused the light to flare and retreat almost shyly. Elias adjusted his approach, moving slowly, speaking softly. "It's okay," he said. "I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to understand." For hours, he stayed at the edge of the anomaly, making small gestures, drawing in his notebook, and letting the light touch his hands and arms. He discovered that it reacted to his voice, too. Gentle tones seemed to soothe it. Sharp or loud sounds made it recoil. The townsfolk gathered closer, unable to tear their eyes away. They saw Elias interacting with a living phenomenon that defied everything they knew. Fear mixed with wonder. A few children crept closer, their small hands clinging to their parents' clothing. You think he's talking to it," whispered one of the townsfolk. "I don't know," said another, "but it seems like it's listening." Elias noticed something remarkable. The anomaly wasn't just alive, it was learning. Each time he approached, it pulsed in patterns that matched his movements, almost mirroring him. He realized that this wasn't random behavior. It was intelligent, responding to human intention rather than just energy or touch. "This is incredible," Elias murmured. "It's like it understands us." As the sun climbed higher, the anomaly's energy grew stronger. Birds circled nervously above, and even the wind seemed to move in strange patterns. Yet Elias remained calm, a steady presence amid the chaos. He knew humans survived because of their ability to remain composed under pressure, to think, to adapt. The anomaly had no reason to attack him because he showed no fear, no aggression. Suddenly, a low hum rose from the anomaly, louder and more insistent than before. Elias felt a vibration in his chest, not painful but deep and resonant. Then, a wave of light swept outward, brushing the grass and rocks near him. The animals nearby froze, then scattered, but Elias remained steady. The anomaly's pulse slowed, then extended toward him again. This time it formed a shape, a glowing circle that hovered just above the ground. Elias instinctively knelt inside it. The air shimmered around him, warm and comforting, almost like the anomaly was creating a safe space. "Starfire," Elias whispered, patting the horse. "It's okay. We're safe for now." In the town hall, Marissa stared at the monitors in disbelief. "It's shielding him," she said. It recognizes him as human." Mayor Jensen rubbed his eyes. This is beyond anything I've ever imagined. That man, he survived something no one else could. Hours passed, and the anomaly continued to interact with Elias. He discovered that he could move small objects with its light, not by force, but by guiding it gently. A fallen branch lifted, then hovered, and he directed it to a safe spot. It was as if the anomaly was teaching him or maybe testing him. By evening, Elias stepped back from the anomaly, breathing heavily but smiling. The townsfolk below cheered, relief and amazement flooding the streets. Martha rushed to him, worry etched on her face. Elias. You have to be careful. What if it? Elias held up a hand, smiling gently. I'm fine. It's not hostile, at least not to us. It's curious like we are to it. Martha shook her head, half in disbelief, half in awe. I still don't like it. I still don't trust it. You don't have to trust it, Elias said softly. But we have to understand it. That's how humans survive. That's how we win. As night fell, the anomaly's light dimmed but continued to pulse gently, as if settling down for rest. Elias sat nearby, staring at it, feeling a strange connection he couldn't explain. He knew this was just the beginning. The anomaly was powerful, intelligent, and unpredictable. But it was also a challenge humans could face because humans had courage, patience, and the ability to understand what others could not. And deep down, Elias felt a thrill. The universe had just opened a door to something extraordinary, and he was the first to step through. Red Mesa's quiet nights had ended. The anomaly was not just a light on the mesa, it was a living mystery, a new chapter in human survival and discovery. And if humans had learned anything, it was this. The unknown could be dangerous, but with courage, curiosity, and patience, it could also become a source of strength. Elias looked up at the stars, then back at the anomaly. We'll learn from you, he whispered. And maybe we'll survive together. The anomaly pulsed gently in response, a soft glow that filled the night with promise and warning. The morning after Elias' first real contact with the anomaly, Red Mesa felt different. The sun rose over the dusty plains, but the air carried a strange energy. Animals acted oddly, their usual routines disrupted. Birds circled in irregular patterns, and even the wind seemed restless, rustling dry grass in a way that unsettled the townsfolk. Inside the town hall, Dr. Marissa Kane was already studying her monitors. This is new, she murmured. The anomaly, it's changing the environment. Look at the soil readings. The plants are different, faster growth, unusual chemical composition. Mayor Harlan Jensen rubbed his forehead. I thought it was safe yesterday. Elias, he came back unharmed. How can it suddenly affect the town? Marissa shook her head. I don't know, but the anomaly seems reactive, not dangerous in itself, but unpredictable. Any sudden change, and it could be a real threat. Outside, Elias walked carefully along the ridge. The anomaly shimmered in the morning light, pulsing gently, as if alive and aware. It seemed calm, but Elias noticed subtle changes, ripples of energy that spread farther than yesterday, brushing over the grass and dirt around it. Starfire, his horse, nickered nervously. Elias knelt and stroked her neck. I know, girl, it's different today. But we can handle it. As he watched, he realized the anomaly was affecting the local wildlife more noticeably. A herd of deer, normally cautious, moved closer to the anomaly, seemingly drawn by it. Cattle wandered near the edge of Elias' property, unusually calm, their usual anxiety gone. Even insects seemed to behave differently, clustering near the light. This is more than curiosity, Elias whispered. It's influencing life around it. Down in town, Martha spoke urgently to a small group of neighbors. Something's wrong, she said. I can feel it. The birds, the wind, the animals, it's like the whole town is changing. They said it was harmless yesterday, one man replied, shaking his head. Elias said it was just curious. But it's not just curiosity now, Martha insisted. Something happening to everything around it. If Elias doesn't control it or at least understand it, we're in danger. Elias had noticed the anomaly's pattern. It responded to intention, patience, and calm, but when it sensed strong emotions, fear, anger, or panic, it reacted unpredictably. That explained the changes in the town. Even small waves of fear from the townsfolk were echoing through the anomaly, subtly altering the environment. He decided to approach it again, taking careful steps. His plan was simple: observe, guide, and test its reactions. Not to control it, but to learn its limits. The anomaly pulsed brighter as he approached, sending soft waves of energy across the ground. Elias extended a hand toward it, letting the light touch his fingers. This time it was different. The pulsing intensified and he felt a rush of energy through his body, not painful but overwhelming. "It's stronger," Elias muttered. "Or maybe it's responding to the town." Indeed, as he looked around, he saw faint glows spreading across the plains, following the anomaly's influence. Crops in the fields grew taller, faster, yet some leaves were twisting unnaturally. The animals were calm, but their movements were strange, almost mechanical. Marissa, watching from her monitors, gasped. "It's affecting the ecosystem," she said. "Not just the immediate area it's spreading. The town, the entire mesa is at risk." Elias realized that the anomaly was testing boundaries. Humans were clever, adaptable, and resilient, but this was something new. He needed to find a way to guide it, not just react to it. As he studied the light, he noticed a rhythm, a sequence of pulses that seemed almost like a heartbeat. It reacted more strongly when he moved slowly or spoke gently. Quick movements caused bursts of energy that sent small shocks through the nearby soil. "This isn't random," Elias murmured. "It's intelligent. It's learning from me from the town." Suddenly, the anomaly's glow intensified dramatically, and a shockwave of energy swept outward. Dust and leaves lifted into the air, and Starfire reared back in fright. Elias held her, trying to calm both horse and himself. The anomaly's pulses were unpredictable now, echoing the fear and tension from the town below. Martha and a few brave townsfolk rushed up the ridge, shouting warnings. "Elias, step back, it's dangerous." Elias shook his head. "No, don't act out of fear. It reacts to fear." Calm is the key. The townsfolk hesitated, fear visible on their faces. Elias turned to them, voice steady. "If we panic, it will panic. Stand back, breathe, and watch. Humans survive by observing, not by reacting blindly. We can do this." Slowly, he extended both hands toward the anomaly. The light touched his skin, warm and pulsing. He felt a connection stronger than before, as if the anomaly was not just curious about him. It was trying to understand humanity itself. Hours passed. Elias experimented carefully, using gentle gestures and soft speech. He guided the anomaly's energy toward harmless demonstrations, moving small rocks, lifting branches, and creating patterns of light across the plains. Every action taught him more about its limits, its intelligence, and its behavior. Back in town, Marissa and her team began to understand what Elias had discovered. "It responds to intent," she said slowly. "Not force, not aggression, only intent. Calm, steady intent." Mayor Jensen, still skeptical, muttered under his breath. "That man, he's brave, but maybe he's the only one who can survive this. God help the rest of us if he fails." As the day wore on, the anomaly's effects became more pronounced. Plants grew in strange directions, some forming intricate spirals and shapes. Animals moved with unusual precision, almost as if under gentle guidance. The wind carried soft vibrations, humming in rhythm with the anomaly's pulses. Elias realized that if he could guide the anomaly, he could prevent disaster. Humans survived because they adapted, and this was adaptation at a cosmic scale. He had to remain calm, focused, and intelligent, qualities that the anomaly could respond to. By evening, he sat at the edge of the anomaly, exhausted but triumphant. The surrounding land was transformed, strange yet beautiful. The town had survived another day, not by hiding or fleeing, but by observing, understanding, and acting with patience. Martha approached carefully, worry etched into her features. Elias, you can't do this alone, it's too big. What if it decides we're a threat? Elias looked at her calmly. Then we show it we're not a threat. We show it patience, understanding, and courage. Humans survive by learning, not by running. Martha nodded slowly, still anxious but inspired by his determination. I just hope we can control it, or at least guide it. As night fell, the anomaly pulsed gently, casting a soft glow across the mesa. Elias sat nearby, gazing at the light, feeling the strange connection that had grown between him and the living phenomenon. Red Mesa was no longer a quiet town. The anomaly's influence was spreading, testing the limits of the land, the animals, and the humans themselves. Yet Elias knew one thing. Humans were resourceful, adaptable, and brave. They could face the unknown, even if it was beyond comprehension. And deep down, Elias felt a thrill. The anomaly was powerful, intelligent, and unpredictable, but it was also a challenge humans could rise to meet. Tomorrow, he whispered to the anomaly, we learn more, together. The anomaly pulsed softly in response, a quiet promise, or perhaps a warning, that the days ahead would be even more extraordinary and dangerous. Red Mesa's survival depended on more than courage. It depended on human intelligence, patience, and the willingness to face the unknown without fear. And as the stars appeared in the night sky, Elias knew that humanity had just met something far beyond their world. Something that could teach, challenge, and even threaten them. But that could also, if understood, bring new strength to the colony. The real test was only beginning. The morning sun rose slowly over Red Mesa, casting long shadows across the transformed plains. The anomaly still shimmered on the northern ridge, its pulsing light stronger than ever. The strange energy it gave off now reached farther, brushing over the town and the surrounding lands. The townsfolk could feel it, a low hum vibrating through the soil, the air, and even their bones. Elias Gray stood at the edge of his ranch, eyes fixed on the anomaly. Starfire shifted nervously beneath him, ears twitching at the low hum that now seemed almost musical. For days, Elias had studied the anomaly, learning its patterns and rhythms. He had discovered that patience, calmness, and gentle intention could influence its reactions. But now, something new had arrived. High above the mesa, a shadow moved. Not a bird, not a cloud, something solid and mechanical, but unlike any machine humans had ever built. A scout drone from beyond the colony, sleek and silver, glided silently over the mesa, scanning the anomaly. Its sensors pulsed in rhythm with the energy emanating from the anomaly, as if it too were trying to understand it. In the town hall, Dr. Marissa Kane's voice trembled over the communicator. Elias, you're not alone. There's something in the sky, an alien presence. It's scanning the anomaly. If it detects you, it could react. Elias didn't flinch. I see it, he said quietly. It's watching, but so far it hasn't attacked. That means we have a chance to guide the anomaly and show it we mean no harm. Mayor Harlan Jensen frowned, pacing the floor. Chance, Elias, this isn't just some strange light anymore. That thing in the sky, if it's hostile, we're done for. The town, the ranch, everything. You need to retreat now. Elias shook his head. Running won't teach us anything. Humans survive by facing challenges, not fleeing. If we act carefully, calmly, we can protect the town and maybe even communicate with whatever that is. Down on the ridge, Elias dismounted Starfire. He set up simple markers around the anomaly, pieces of metal and glass that could reflect its energy and help guide the pulses safely. The drone above shifted its position, scanning continuously, its sensors sending faint signals that vibrated in the air. Elias reached toward the anomaly, feeling the familiar warmth and hum. The light pulsed in response, almost as if it recognized him and trusted him. He spoke softly, almost whispering, We're not a threat. We only want to understand and protect." The anomaly's pulses grew brighter, forming gentle waves that extended outward. The drone above paused, seemingly startled by the coordinated energy. Elias realized something important. The anomaly's reaction was unpredictable to outsiders, but it could be influenced by humans who remained calm and intentional. He turned to the townsfolk who had come to watch from a safe distance. "Stay back," he called. "Do not panic. Watch and learn. We survive by thinking, not by screaming." The town held its collective breath as Elias guided the anomaly's energy with careful gestures. Small rocks lifted, twirled in the air, and settled gently back on the ground. Dust swirled, forming patterns that mirrored the drone's movements above. The anomaly seemed to be creating a barrier, a protective rhythm that expanded outward, shielding the ridge from the drone's sensors. Marissa's voice broke through the communicator. "Elias, that's incredible. It's like you're teaching it, like you're controlling it." Elias shook his head. "Not controlling, guiding. Humans don't need to dominate to survive. We need to understand." As he spoke, the drone shifted lower, scanning with precision. Elias noticed that every time he moved calmly, every time he spoke with steady words, the anomaly responded by extending light toward him, forming a kind of shield. Quick movements caused flashes of chaotic energy, but patience kept the pulse steady. The drone, unable to predict the anomaly's response, hesitated. Its sensors flickered, and for the first time it seemed uncertain. Elias seized the moment. He guided the anomaly's pulses outward, creating a dome of shimmering light that expanded to cover the town and ranch. The energy washed over the fields, bending plant stems gently, calming the animals and stabilizing the land. The townsfolk watched in awe. Martha whispered to her neighbors, "I don't understand it, but he's saving us. That man, he's saving us." Elias continued to guide the anomaly, feeling a strange connection with it growing stronger. He sensed its curiosity, its intelligence, and even its awareness of the alien drone above. It was as if the anomaly was testing the drone, showing it the resilience and resourcefulness of humans. Hours passed. The drone hovered, seemingly observing the anomaly's display of power and intelligence. Then, without warning, it shifted its course, ascending higher and moving away from the mesa. Elias watched carefully. He understood that the alien presence had recognized humans not as mere prey, but as intelligent beings capable of reasoning, patience, and courage. Marissa exhaled, relief flooding her voice. It left. "Elias, you did it. The town, the ranch, everyone is safe." Elias smiled faintly, but he didn't relax completely. "Not completely. The drone may report back. There could be more, but today we proved something important. Humans survive because we adapt, because we remain calm, and because we think." Martha approached, concern still etched on her face. "Elias, I don't know what to say. That thing above, you faced it. And the anomaly, how did you do it?" Elias knelt, placing a hand on the pulsing light of the anomaly. "I didn't do it alone. It responded to what humans do best: patience, courage, intelligence. We survived because we stayed calm, because we observed, because we respected it." The townsfolk began to gather closer, inspired by what they had witnessed. They realized that survival wasn't just about hiding or running. It was about understanding, learning, and acting with purpose. Elias looked around at the faces of the people he had grown up with, the neighbors who had doubted him and the young children who stared wide-eyed. "You see this?" he asked. "This is what humans do. We don't always have the strongest weapons or the fastest ships. But we have brains, hearts, and courage. That's how we survive. That's how we win." The anomaly pulsed gently in response, as if acknowledging his words. Elias felt a strange bond forming, not just between himself and the anomaly, but between the anomaly and the town. It was teaching them, testing them, and in return they were learning to trust their own abilities. Night fell, and the anomaly's light dimmed to a soft glow, illuminating the mesa like a calm beacon. The town was safe for now. Elias sat beside Starfear, staring at the shimmering phenomenon, thinking about what tomorrow might bring. He knew challenges would come. The alien drone was only one of many possible threats. The anomaly's intelligence was far beyond human understanding, and its reactions could be unpredictable. But he also knew this. Humans survived not because they were the strongest, but because they were clever, courageous, and willing to learn. Elias whispered to the anomaly, "We'll face whatever comes next. Together, we humans, we don't give up." The anomaly pulsed faintly, a gentle wave of light that seemed almost like a promise. Elias felt hope rising in his chest. For the first time, he believed that humans could meet the unknown, not just survive, but thrive. Red Mesa's nights were no longer quiet, but they were filled with possibility. The anomaly, the alien presence, and the challenges ahead were formidable, but Elias had shown the town one undeniable truth. Humans are not easily intimidated. They face danger with courage, solve problems with intelligence, and adapt to whatever the universe throws at them. And in that quiet moment, beneath the shimmering light of the anomaly, Elias realized that the town, the anomaly, and even the alien presence were all part of the same test, a test humans had already begun to pass. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight, humanity had shown its strength. And that strength was just beginning. The sun rose slowly over Red Mesa, casting soft light across the transformed plains. The anomaly still shimmered on the northern ridge, its gentle pulses spreading warmth over the land. The town had awakened to a quiet sense of awe mixed with relief. For days, the anomaly had challenged their understanding of the world, but now it seemed calm. Elias Gray stood at the edge of his ranch, surveying the scene. Starfear grazed nearby, her ears twitching occasionally at the soft hum that filled the air. The anomaly pulsed in gentle waves, almost like it was breathing in harmony with the world around it. Elias knew this calm was temporary. The anomaly was intelligent, unpredictable, and powerful. But he also knew humans had something no alien presence, no anomaly could predict: resilience, courage, and ingenuity. "Starfear," he murmured, patting her neck, "today we finish what we started. We stabilize this. We show everyone humans survive anything." In the town, people were already beginning to venture closer to the mesa. Farmers checked their fields, noticing that crops had grown in strange but useful ways. Cattle were calm and healthy. Even the wild animals acted less erratic, as if the anomaly's influence had shifted from chaos to harmony. Martha approached Elias, her brow still creased with worry but her eyes reflecting pride. "Elias, it's incredible. The town, the ranch, everything. You've done what I thought was impossible." Elias shook his head with a small smile. "Not me alone. Humans survive because we adapt, observe, and act together. I guided it, yes, but the whole town, your courage, patience, and trust, that matters too." Dr. Marissa Kane arrived, carrying her scanner and a portable console. "The readings are remarkable," she said, scanning the anomaly. "Its energy is stabilizing. It's responding to the patterns of human interaction. Steady, calm, purposeful movements. That's all it needed." Elias nodded. "Humans survive by learning. That's how we did it yesterday, and today we do it better. Patience, observation, and courage." But their moment of calm was interrupted by a faint hum in the sky. Elias looked up to see a second alien drone hovering at the edge of the atmosphere. Unlike the first, this one seemed larger, more imposing, scanning the anomaly with precision. "Another one," Martha whispered. Elias' gaze remained steady. "Probably, but we're ready. This is what humans do. We face challenges, we adapt, and we survive." He turned to Marissa. "Help me guide it. We'll show it humans aren't threats. We'll prove that we can coexist and that we can protect what's ours." The townsfolk gathered around, forming a safe perimeter. Elias instructed them calmly. "Everyone, remember what we learned. Keep calm. Don't panic. Move slowly if you need to move. Our strength comes from patience, observation, and unity. Humans survive by thinking. With careful gestures, Elias guided the anomaly's energy in rhythmic pulses, forming a dome of shimmering light that expanded outward. The alien drone hovered uncertainly, its sensors picking up the anomaly's energy but unable to predict its behavior. The anomaly responded to Elias' calm, steady guidance, creating a protective barrier over the town. Dr. Marissa watched in awe. It's incredible. It's as if the anomaly recognizes us as intelligent beings. It's learning, adapting to human intent. The drone, unable to find a clear threat, retreated slightly, observing rather than acting. Elias continued his guidance, moving slowly, speaking softly, and letting the anomaly respond to his movements. Small rocks lifted, dust swirled in gentle spirals, and the wind shifted to carry the pulses outward. Hours passed. The townsfolk watched silently, inspired by Elias' courage. Even the children, who had been terrified in the beginning, now observed with quiet fascination. They saw humans survive not by strength alone, but by intelligence, calmness, and unity. By evening, the drone finally retreated completely. The anomaly's pulses slowed, stabilizing into a gentle rhythm. Elias breathed a deep sigh, exhaustion and relief washing over him. Marissa approached, placing a hand on his shoulder. Elias, the readings are incredible. The anomaly is stable, the town is safe. You humans, you've done something extraordinary. Elias shook his head. We've only begun. Humans survive by learning, by facing challenges, by staying calm when everything seems impossible. That's what matters. That's what wins. Martha smiled, a mixture of pride and relief. I still don't fully understand it, Elias, but I do understand this. You saved the town, the ranch. You showed everyone what humans are capable of. Elias looked at the anomaly, still pulsing softly as if acknowledging him. And we'll keep learning, he said quietly. Together, humans and whatever this is, we survive by understanding, by adapting, and by trusting ourselves. Night fell, and the anomaly glowed softly, illuminating the mesa like a calm beacon. The town slept more peacefully than they had in days. Even Starfire lay near Elias, calm, trusting the steady rhythm of the anomaly. In the quiet, Elias reflected on what had happened. The anomaly was not just a force of nature. It was intelligent, alive in a way humans could feel but not fully comprehend. It had tested them, challenged them, and shown them the power of observation, patience, and courage. And humans had risen to meet that challenge. The next morning, the town began to recover fully. Crops that had grown strangely but healthily were harvested carefully. Animals were tended to, and the land, once chaotic with the anomaly's influence, was now balanced and fertile. Red Mesa had changed forever, but it had survived. Elias stood on the ridge once more, looking over the mesa. The anomaly pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat in harmony with the land. We did it, he whispered. Humans survived. We proved what we're capable of. Martha joined him, looking out across the transformed plains. The town, the ranch, everything. We've survived something incredible and will continue to survive, because humans, we adapt, we think, and we have courage. Elias smiled faintly. Yes, that's what makes us different, that's why we thrive. Not because we're the strongest or the fastest, but because we use our minds, our hearts, and our courage. That's what survives. The anomaly pulsed once more, a gentle wave of light that rippled across the mesa. Elias felt a sense of peace, a connection that went beyond understanding. It was a promise, an acknowledgement that humans had proven themselves capable. In the town, the people began to return to normal life, but with a new sense of pride and awareness. Children spoke of Elias' courage, of the anomaly, and of the lessons learned. Farmers worked with more care and respect for the land. The town had survived not by luck, but by intelligence, patience, and bravery. As the stars appeared in the night sky, Elias knew the anomaly was still there, watching, learning, and pulsing with quiet energy. but he also knew that humans had faced the unknown and emerged stronger. The universe was vast and unpredictable, but Red Mesa had shown that courage, ingenuity, and unity could turn even the strangest challenges into triumphs. Elias turned to Martha. Tomorrow may bring new challenges, new anomalies, new threats, but we'll meet them. Humans always do. That's who we are. Martha nodded, smiling softly. Yes, Elias, that's who we are. And as the gentle hum of the anomaly filled the air, Elias and the townsfolk of Red Mesa slept peacefully, knowing that they had not only survived but had triumphed. Humans were capable of facing the unknown, and they had proven it. Red Mesa had changed forever. The anomaly had arrived as a mystery, a threat, and a challenge. And through courage, intelligence, and unity, humans had turned it into hope, understanding, and a testament to what they could achieve. Elias looked at the stars one last time, then back at the glowing anomaly. "We survived," he whispered, "and we'll continue to survive, no matter what comes next." The anomaly pulsed gently, a soft wave of light that filled the night with calm, promise, and the unshakable truth. Humanity endures. And with that, the town, the anomaly, and humanity itself entered a new era of understanding, courage, and hope.